In this video, I'm going to be covering the entire kingdom timeline from chapter 1 all the way to the current one. 245 BC, Ryofui leads an army of 200,000 to siege the city located in northern Wei. The same time that happened, Seikyo's rebellion takes place where Issei's younger brother Seikyo and the chancellor of the left try to overthrow Issei. That led Issei to re-establish an alliance with the mountain king, Yutanwa. After that, the chancellor that overthrew the government was slain by one of the mountain people, and at the end, Issei reclaims the throne and Seikyo is imprisoned. In the summer of that year, the Keiyo campaign begins. A 150,000 strong army under the command of Duke Hyo sets off to counter the Wei city of Keiyo. And this ended when Duke Hyo decided to cancel the campaign, taking with him 30,000 Wei heads. A few months later, Ryofui sends assassins to slay Issei. However, the assassination attempt fails. Moving on, in the year 244 BC, in February, under the orders of Chancellor Ryofui, a grand army numbering over 200,000 soldiers set out to invade the neighboring state of Han, under the command of Great General Mogu, to conquer the territory of Anho. In a single month, they managed to conquer 11 cities. After conquering their original objective, they decided to push even further into Han territory. In March of 244 BC, Ganmon takes place and the Riboku army slays over 100,000 Shan. After that, the Zhao army under the command of Great General Hoken invades Shin. Vice General Ko-san Ryu leads the siege on Bao and conquers it within days. Detachment Zhao units under the command of Vice General Mangoku are sent to the surrounding area, massacring every single village in the vicinity, and the city of Bao falls and all the citizens are massacred. An emergency conscription is sent out to recruit every available man. The emergency conscripted soldiers marched northeast without organizing themselves. They numbered 100,000 strong. Great General Oki is appointed the commander-in-chief of the emergency forces of Qin. And then the Battle of Baiyu takes place. In that battle, Shin is appointed a special unit. The special unit is given the name Hishin Unit, after personally named by Great General Oki. And at the end of the campaign, Oki is mortally wounded by Hoken. Oki falls in battle. News of Okai's death spread quickly throughout the states of China. Half a month later, the remaining Oki army and its soldiers that remained out of caution against any further attacks returned home, officially ending the Qin-Zhao War. Shin and the Hishin unit's soldiers returned to their respective homes. In the year 243 BC, Shin is promoted to the rank of 300-man commander due to his accomplishments during the Battle of Baiyu. After that, newly promoted Hishin unit repel an attack by the Wei forces. Around the same time, Riboku becomes the prime minister of Zhao. The city of Regan under the rule of Kei Sui pacifies the region, including Anka. And Riboku leads an army against the state of Yan, taking on the nigh unbeatable cities of Bu Sui and Castle Hayu. The battle was completely one-sided and the Yan were said to be absolutely helpless. In the year also, the Qin-Zhao alliance is established. Also in that year, something significant happened, which was the royal harem joins the Ryofui faction. In the year 242 BC, the Sanyu campaign begins. Mogu is appointed commander-in-chief of the Qin forces. And what happened in that campaign, it started with Rinkyo's assassination of 8 of Qin's most promising 1,000-man commanders. And because of that, Moten, Ohun, and Shin are appointed as temporary 1,000-man commanders. Also in that campaign, Genbo's of Renpa's 4 heavenly kings is slain by Vice General Kanki. Shin slays Rinko of Renpa's 4 heavenly kings. Haku Keisai, the Wei commander-in-chief, is slain by Kanki. And because of all the things said before, Renpa surrenders. After that battle happened, Kyokai temporarily leaves the Hishin unit. Renpa is exiled from the state of Wei and seeks asylum in the state of Chu. Kanki has his nobility raised by 2 counts and is given 3 lands along with 2,000 units of gold and 10 units of treasure. Mogu is raised 1 rank in nobility and is granted 2 lands, along with 2,000 units of gold and 10 units of treasure. Shin has raised 3 ranks in nobility and is awarded 500 units of gold and 5 units of treasure, and is officially promoted to 1,000-man commander because of his achievements in the campaign. 3 months after the campaign, the Sanyu region is renamed Togan and 10,000 Qin citizens immigrate there. In that city, Shin meets with Hi Sui, the daughter of the former city lord. At that time, Hi Sui is offered as a gift to the Wei general Gagyu in order to avoid invasion. However, Gagyu breaks his promise and attacks Qin forces anyway, which results in the Battle of Ron Fields taking place. In that battle, Hyorai is killed by an arrow. Shin suspects the scheme and pincers Gagyu's exposed HQ and kills him in a single strike. After that, the Wei army retreats. While that was happening, the Zhao and Yan had a gigantic battle in which both both sides muster 100,000 soldiers each. Gaki Shin, the supreme commander of the Yan forces, is slain by Hoken in a single combat, which resulted in Yan's defeat. Because of that, 20,000 Yan soldiers were taken as prisoners. Also in that year, Yofui obtains the position of Chancellor of the state. Seikyo, the royal prince, and his retainers are freed from imprisonment and assist his brother Issei in defeating the Ryofui faction. At the same time, Shohei-kun is appointed Chancellor of the right and Shoban-kun is appointed Chancellor of the left. Moving along from the promotions, something else that happened in that year, the small state of Zhou is attacked by a Han 2,000-man commander Ba Kan. The Hishin unit gives assistance and saves the remaining survivors of the Zhou state from the attacking Han. And in that battle, Ba Kan is slain by Shin. When Shin was out there, Shin reunited with Riboku after chancing upon a secret meeting between Zhao and Shu. Shin and Riboku have a brief duel. It ends in the Zhao great general overpowering the young 1,000-man commander and with him confirming Riboku's powerful combat ability. Nearing the end of the year, Riboku recruits the state of Chu for the coalition army, and he also recruits the state of Wei for the coalition army. To end off this year, Ohun is promoted 2,000-man commander and Ko becomes pregnant with Sei's first child. Now on to the next year, 241 BC. This was a big year. The coalition army invades the state of Qin, and that invasion starts with the battle of the Kanku Pass. In that battle, Chu general Rinbu-kun is slain by Qin general To. Zhao general Mongoku is slain by Shin. Han general Sei Kai is slain by Qin general Chu To. But at the same time, Chu To dies of poisoning. In a different place in that battle, Moten is cut down by Chu great general Kan Mei after saving his father Mobu from a surprise attack. Qin general Mobu slays the Chu great general and the commander-in-chief Kan Mei. After seeing what happened in the battle of the Kanku Pass, the Riboku army attacks the southern pass with an army of 40,000, conquering city by city. When that happened, Duke Hyo attacks the Riboku army with 5,000 soldiers, and the battle of the southern path takes place. In that battle, Duke Hyo is slain by Hoken, but manages to break his right arm before dying. The remnants of the Duke Hyo army and the Hishin unit retreat to the city of Sai. After seeing that there is no other option, Issei goes to the city of Sai to take command of the army garrison there, which was comprised of the citizens of Sai, the remnants of the Duke Hyo army, and the Hishin unit, along with very few reinforcements that came from the castle. And thus the battle of Sai began and lasted for 7 whole days. On the 7th day, Yutanwa of the mountain people comes to Sei's aid. Also on that 7th day, Shin holds off Hoken in a duel, and the Zhao deputy general Shin Sei-jo is slain by Ba Jiao of the mountain people. And after the battle of Sai ended in failure for the coalition army, the coalition army retreated, and then they decided to attack Ki to take the lands and the wealth they originally expected to receive from Qin. When that happened, Mobu leads the Qin army to attack the coalition army's rear, and because of that, the coalition army disbands, only capturing Qi cities as far as Johan. Because of the coalition army's failure, Shun Shin-kun, the commander-in-chief of the coalition army, is banished from the capital of Chu, and also Riboku is banished from the Zhao capital Kantan. 1 month later, after all that happened, the award ceremony for Qin takes place in Kanyu. In that award ceremony, Mobu has raised 2 ranks in nobility, granted 2 lands, along with 3,000 units of gold and 10 units of treasure. Also, the 6 commanding generals have been promoted 2 ranks in nobility and given 3,000 gold, 10 treasures, and various lands as part of their special grand award. The citizens of Sai are raised by 2 counts in nobility, and each person is to receive their own share of generous monetary reward. Because of her help in the Battle of Sai, Yutanwa has bestowed the rank of Daijozu, the 5th highest rank in the 20-rank system, along with 30 units of treasure. For his amazing accomplishments, Shin's nobility is risen 1 rank and his territory of residence, Furui, is enlarged. As well as that, he receives 500 units of gold and 5 units of treasure. He is then promoted to 3,000-man commander. Also in the award ceremony, Ohun is promoted to the rank of 3,000-man commander, and Moten is promoted to the rank of 2,000-man commander. In the winter of the year 241 BC, the Hishin unit is posted in the front lines and Kyokai returns to the Hishin unit. She scores so many great achievements on the battlefield that they casted a shadow over Shin's and the others. In the year 240 BC, a list of of things happen. A comet is sighted, Great General Mogu passes away, Princess Rei is born, General Osen conquers the Wei city Keito, taking the city commanders as retainers. General Konki conquers the Wei city of Keiyu, burning its commanders at stake. In the year 239 BC, in the spring of that year, a Zhao army of 20,000 under the command of General Mai Ko sets off for the Qin region of Tonryu. Then Seikyo leads an army of 35,000 to repel the Zhao. Seikyo successfully repels Zhao after half a day of battle. Seikyo is then taken hostage by Hokaku, who starts a rebellion in Seikyo's name. On another side, Shin is promoted to 4,000 man commander, making the Hishin unit a 5,000 man unit. That's because Kyokai was also promoted as a 1,000 man commander. The 30,000 strong subjugated army under the command of General Heki sets out. The subjugation army, now numbering 40,000, faces the 70,000 strong rebel army and 20,000 Zhao army on the Mei Plains, and then they're saved by the 5,000 man strong Hishin unit. Then the siege of Tonryu city begins. While that's happening, Hokaku is slain by Seikyo, but Prince Seikyo was injured heavily and then he passes away at Tonryu. After those events unfolded, the Seikyo faction under the command of Rui joins the Issei faction, and thus all implicated military officers are executed and the populace is made to immigrate to the Rinchio County. Moving to a different place, the Chiyoyu campaign begins. In that, General To is appointed as the commander-in-chief to invade and capture the Choyu region. Great General Gohomei of Wei is assigned to defend the region. The Hishin unit and the Gyokuho units are personally requested by To join the battle. For that battle, the surviving members of the Wei 7 Fire Dragons are freed from prison to protect the region. Moving on, Ohun slays Earl Shi of the Wei 7 Fire Dragons, who's also one of the strongest spear users in China. Moving back to the Hishin unit, Shin slays Rei O, and with that the battle concluded and construction begins on turning Choyu into a giant fortress. 2 months later, Roai is appointed the governor of Tagen, with the Queen Mothers backing his appointment. After that happened, the region of Tagen is declared the state of Ai by Biki, the Queen Mother, and Roai. After finding out about that news, the Chu army invades Qin. This resulted in the award ceremony for the Chi-Yu-Yo campaign to take place in Chuyo. In the award ceremony, General To is promoted to the rank of Great General. Both Shin and Ohun are promoted to the ranks of 5,000 man commander, and Kyokai is promoted to the rank of 30,000 man commander. After that, the Hishin unit is posted with the Ryukoyu army to defend Chuyo. In the year 238 BC, Issei has his coming of age ceremony and is proclaimed as the 31st king of Qin. State of Ai started a rebellion with an army of 30,000 with General Han O-Ki in command. Wanting to take advantage of the rebellion, Karin invades the Qin territory but is confronted by the combined Mobu army, and thus the Battle of Gento takes place. At the same time, the State of Ai army became the first hostile force to go through the Kankoyu Pass. The Hishin unit, along with an army of 10,000, was to ambush the rebel army. At the same time, the Wei River crossing battle happened and the siege of Kanyu also happened. After that, the Hishin unit, the Gyokuho unit, and the Gakuka unit are sent to the Qin-Zhao border region of Soishu. Responding to this, Zhao also dispatched their own forces to the area, led by General Goki, resulting in a stalemate. Around the same time in that year, the Yutanwa army conquers Inshi, one of the key strongholds for Wei. At around the same time but a different place, King Koretsu of Chu dies, and Chu Shin-kun is assassinated by men sent by Rishi. Because of those Chu events, Ri-En and Karin became prime ministers of Chu. Moving on, in the year 237 BC, the Battle of Kokuyo Hills takes place. In that battle, General Keisha, right-hand man of Riboku, is slain by Shin in a duel. Also, General Ryuto is slain by Kyokai. In that same battle, over a dozen civilians of the Kokuyo region are slaughtered by the Kanki army, and with that, General Kanki succeeds in taking Kokuyo from the state of Zhao. Later on in that year, King Issei discusses the matter of the unifications with the Ki King, Oken, and later Prime Minister Riboku while declaring war against Zhao. A few things later happen also in that year. Saitaku passes away, Rishi is released from prison and joins the king's faction. Riboku orders the construction of several forts and castles over the wide stretch of western Zhao. Biki, the Queen Mother, returns to Kanyu. Next up is a year with massive events. The year 236 BC. The Yu campaign begins. Osen is appointed commander-in-chief of the Qin forces, leading an army of 200,000 soldiers, comprising of the Kanki army, the Yutanwa army, to invade and conquer the city of Gayu. After a long, massive war with 3 different battlefields, the Gyo campaign finally ends in Qin's victory, with the capture of 12 cities including Gayu, Retsubi, and Ryuyu, 3 major cities of Western Zhao. 1 month later, all the Qin soldiers returned to Kanyu to receive equal for their contributions and achievements during that campaign. Due to his great military complications and accomplishments, Shin is bestowed with the family name Ri by Issei after learning that it was Hyo's last name, and subsequently renamed Ri Shin before his promotion to the rank of general. 5 months later, many Qin citizens are moved to the newly conquered Gayu region. Ri Shin was dispatched to oversee the operation. At the same time, Wei General Gohomei recaptures some of their lost territory but was unable to take back Togen due to the swift return of Qin Great General To to the front lines. And then the award ceremony for the Gyo campaign finally takes place in Kanyu. Osen, Kanki, and Yutanwa receive awards of supreme exemplary service for their accomplishments. Rishin, Ohun, and Moten receive awards for exemplary services, and they're all promoted to the rank of general. 1 month later, the Hishin unit is transformed into a 15,000 strong Hishin unit army and reconstructs its command structure. Similarly, the Gakuka unit and the Gyokuho unit are turned into 10,000 man armies respectively. Then the newly assigned Hishin army, Gakuka army, and Gyokuho army are sent to Gyo. Around the same time in that year, Zhao King Tojo is assassinated by poison. When that happened, Prince Ka sends the Kantan army to face the Qin armies and stop their invasion. But by the will of the late King Tojo, his youngest son, Prince Sen, ascends to the throne. After that, a failed assassination attempt is made on Riboku and Ka as they leave the royal palace. Riboku, Ka, and their vassals escape Kantan while being pursued by Kakukai's loyalist soldiers. Moving on, in the year 235 BC, at the beginning of that year, a large number of Issei's political enemies gather under Ryufui in Kanan. Issei visits Ryufui in Kanan and has a conversation with him to make sure that there isn't a rebellion starting over there. Around the same time, Han army tries to invade Juko city but is defeated. 1 month later, Kanyu sends Ryufui a decree that stripped him of his territory in Kanan, as well as all his wealth. Ryufui then fakes his suicide and secretly escapes Kanan. After that happened, Qin proposed an alliance with the Wei, and after a bit of convincing, the Wei finally agrees. Then the Battle of Gishi Plains takes place. General Mobu commands Qin's offensive and is aided by the Wei army led by Gohomei. The alliance wins the battle and conquers the city, and the city was given to the Wei as per their agreement. After securing Juko, Wei began invading Han and conquers some of their territory in order to expand to the west. And at the same time, Qin moves some of their forces positioned on the Wei borders to the Gyo region to fight against Zhao. As a response, Zhao sends a large army from the north to fight Qin. In 234 BC, with the start of the new year, Qin King Issei reinstates the 6 great general system. With that, Mobu is appointed 1st great, To is appointed 2nd great, Osen is appointed 3rd great, Yutanwa is appointed 4th great, and Kanki is appointed 5th great, and the last seat remains empty. After that, great generals Osen, Yutanwa, and Kanki resume their invasion of Zhao as an attempt to conquer the 2 forts which serve as the last defense of the capital of Kantan. As a response, Zhao Great General Koshu charges with an army of 240,000 strong soldiers to intercept General Kanki's 80,000 soldiers advance on Hayu, and thus the Battle of EQ takes place. After a very smart unconventional strategy, Kanki was able to overcome that battle, but because of his strategy, over 100,000 Zhao soldiers have surrendered and they're in custody of the Kanki army. Then Kanki orders his soldiers to behead the surrendered Zhao soldiers. As a response to that, Issei leaves Kanyu as the head of an army to speak with Kanki about the following massacre. The day when Issei arrives at Kanki HQ, a comet is seen in the sky. According to Shiji, this comet was seen in January. So this entire battle of EQ took place in January. As a response to their defeat, Riboku and his vassals returned from the exile after receiving messages from the king. Around September, Riboku returns to Kantan after inspecting Gayan. Riboku then sends envoys to Seika, Shibasho's abode, and to Romo, a castle close to the eastern border of Qin, while northeast of Taigen. Following Riboku's orders, Saika sends 2 generals at Raomao, Kansaro and Ji-Aga, to bluster its military. This took place 5 months before Shohei-kun enacts his strategy for the capture of Gayan. After that, the final year that we have, 233 BC. At the start of the new year, Osen's army attacks Baiju Castle while the Kanki army attacks the Heiyu Castle. Both cities fall to Qin. However, Kanki's army takes 10 days longer due to Zhao soldiers fighting to the bitter end. As a result, result to the previous massacre. 2 months later, the Chief Military Affairs Shohei-kun orders the start of the campaign for Gaian, and the grand strategy for that follows. First, Osen and Kanki will go around the north to take Atsuyo. From there, they'll continue marching forward into the north of Zhao. On another front, Qin northern and eastern armies will converge into one grand army and pass through Taigen, and will proceed to northern Zhao as they will act as reinforcements for the great generals. And after passing through Taigen, they will be folded into Osen and Kanki's respective armies and take Gaian in one fell swoop. Yutanwa and her army arrives to hold down Heiyu and Beiju castles. And the Osen army, Kanki army, Hishin army, Gakuka army, and Heki army combine their armies and head towards northern Zhao to capture Atsuyo. At the same time, Riboku plans to cleave the Osen and Kanki armies in Taiwan at Atsu, but Atsu is captured by Osen's army, but they took 3 times longer and suffered 3 times more casualties than planned. After that, Qin's northern and eastern armies gathered under the command of General Sohako, numbering over 210,000 soldiers. They left Taigen and headed for Gaian, passing through Romo. The Romo army carried out a surprise attack after 6 months of preparation by Riboku, and thus 40,000 soldiers of Qin were killed, and the armies of the center and rear retreated back to Taigen. But General Fu Han manages to rally 50,000 soldiers from the front to follow the initial plan of joining the main army from Atsuyo. After that, the city of Sikri is conquered by Heki without shedding a single droplet of blood, as it was nearly deserted. Around the same time, the Riboku army leaves the fortress of Gaian for battle, and with that, Riboku's retaliation war against the state of Qin finally begins, with his army of 310,000 Zhao soldiers launching a surprise attack against the 140,000 soldiers of Qin led by great General Kanki. And with that, we catch up with the current events of the story. I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and if you'd like more kingdom and manga content, I suggest you subscribe, and later.